Okay, so today I want to talk to you about fear. Fear is a natural and powerful, primitive human emotion. It involves a biochemical response as well as high individual emotional response. It alerts us to the presence of danger or threat or harm, whether that be physical danger or psychological danger. It's an evolutionary plus a learned response. Evolutionary in terms of our brains have evolved over the years to give us early warning or danger to physical health, such as being eaten by a woolly mammoth. And learned response in terms of remembering the pain and hurt of the past and seeking to avoid similar situations. Now let me ask you this. Is your inner voice helping you to show up as your most courageous self when the situation demands? If not, it's likely because of these three things. You fear loss pain. The fear that you might lose something important to you by taking that next courageous step to change your life or to advance your career, like losing your reputation or a relationship or perhaps even your financial security. You fear process pain, that the mere act or process of changing will be too hard for you and you'll have to work harder and possibly give up some pastimes or distractions that bring you short-term joy. You might have to take action that involves disappointing others for the greater good, and that can be difficult for some people. And lastly, you fear outcome pain, the fear that the effort that you put into being courageous might not lead to a better outcome, like having that difficult conversation with a supervisor or a boss, or putting forward an idea that might be seen as disruptive or goes against the grain or even perhaps silly. So to combat and overcome these fears, I want you to think about fear as a risk management exercise. There are about 3 areas in your life, or think about 3 areas in your life where you feel that you should be taking more courageous action, and write this down. What is the loss pain associated with that action? Next, mark between 1 and 5, with 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest, the likelihood of that happening and the associated impact in your life. Now total the score. Next, what is the process pain associated with those actions? Mark between 1 and 5, the likelihood of it happening and the associated impact in your life. Total the score. And lastly, write down the outcome pain associated with that action. Mark between 1 and 5, the likelihood of that happening and the associated impact in your life. Now total the score. Now for pain that you've scored between 8 and 10, you need to focus and take mitigating action. Mitigating action means reducing the impact or the likelihood. This could be as simple as putting away extra savings before doing something that has a high impact financial loss pain, or talking through those pains with a friend or mentor or coach to determine the actual likelihood of them happening. For everything else on the list, largely ignore it because it's either unlikely to happen, or if it is likely to happen, it's very low impact. Now, I hope this serves you. Comment below on how you get on using this framework. I'd love to hear from you. Your coach, Mark.